The executive branch of our state government, through PennDOT, is treating us like criminals because it makes their job easier. I'm sorry, but the purpose of government in this nation is to protect our rights, not to abuse them because it makes their job easier. The Senate bill, which is Senate Bill 621, has had 2 hearings in the Senate and is currently in the Appropriations Committee for review before going to the Senate for the final vote. I don't see a big problem in the Senate now because Real ID is really going to save us money. It's not going to cost us any money. However, the House bill, which is 1443, prohibits Real ID, and it's in the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, chaired by Representative Curtis Thomas from Philadelphia. Last year, he represented the governor and not the people, and wrote his own bill to prohibit Real ID, but he deleted all the information on biometrics. When Representative Rohr, whose bill was the initial bill, attempted on the floor to put the biometrics back in, it failed on a partisan vote. In other words, the governor basically controlled the House, and therefore it failed. The amendment failed. However, the bill passed, which said we wouldn't participate, but it was very weak. It went to the Senate, and it never got a hearing in the Senate. So the reason being, in my opinion, is because Senator Wunderling used to work for PennDOT, and he was looking out for PennDOT's interests. Bill Rao quoted an item off of out of the Constitution, which is what our elected officials, judges, and state county officials took their oath. And this is, I want to repeat it again so that you keep it in your mind. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Swamp Commonwealth, and I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. They took an oath to the Constitution, which are really covenants between we the people and the governed. As delineated in the U.S. Constitution, every state is guaranteed a Republican form of government, i.e., that's a government with limited powers. The federal government has exceeded its powers with respect to Real ID Act of 2005, and our state officials have taken an oath to obey the Constitution, which means that PennDOT, they also took the oaths, needs to turn back its advancement on meeting Real ID standards or benchmarks, and that our state legislatures need to pass the bill that says we're not going to participate. Here's a quote from Alexander Hamilton, one of our founding fathers, which I think is very apropos to what's happening today. Quote, no legislative act contrary to the Constitution can be valid. To deny this would be to affirm that the deputy or agent is greater than the principal, that the servant is above the master, that the representatives of the people are superior to the people, that men, acting by virtue of power, may do not only what their powers do not authorize, but what they forbid. It is not to be supposed that the Constitution should intend to enable the representatives of the people to substitute their will to that of the constituents. A Constitution is, in fact, and must be, regarded by judges as fundamental law. If there should happen to be any irreconcilable variances between the two, the Constitution is to be preferred to the statute. New technology can make one's job easier, but PennDOT may not violate someone's rights. Real ID violates religious rights of people in this country, in this state also. For example, you have the Amish and or Mennonites who drive, okay, but they don't like their picture taken, or they don't want to have a social security number. PennDOT refuses to renew their driver's license because of that. Real ID is really the result of 9/11 in that the terrorists were able to obtain driver's licenses. However, Michael Chertoff, the former Homeland Security Director, stated in his speech at the University of Southern California back in August of 2008, He said, "I certainly have seen intelligence that tells me that sophisticated criminals and sophisticated terrorists spend a great deal of time learning to fabricate and forge even these improved cards. The net effect of this may be that it's going to be harder for people on campus here to get a drink when they're under 21, but unfortunately, it's not going to be that much harder for those most sophisticated, dangerous people from counterfeiting an identification card. We can stop Real ID in Pennsylvania. We need to contact our representatives and our senators and say we don't want any part of Real ID. I can't stress it more. I spent a lot of time down in D.C. Down in at Harrisburg at the Capitol. In the House, Representative Thomas is going to be our problem because he's the chair of the committee where the bill is going to be sitting. So we need to put pressure on our representatives to talk to him to say, get the bill out of committee. And I thank you for your time. If you have any more questions, feel free to see me afterwards. Thank you.